My name is Hedy, and I'm a product designer here at Make, and I'm very happy to be here with all of you, because today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic that I like very much, which is vibe coding. Because we are all trying to do things faster. You are already probably doing a lot of automations to accelerate your life, but today we're going to take it a step forward, and we're going to show you how you can create beautiful interfaces to basically accelerate the way in which you get to a real product much faster. So I'm going to give you a very quick intro, but then I'm going to pass the mic to Farhan, here the expert. He is a field engineer from Vercel, and he's going to come up and teach you and show you how to create real examples of this. Okay? But first, what is vibe coding? I guess most of you know already, because that's why you're here, but do you vibe code a little bit? If you can just wave at me to know. Do you vibe code? Yes? OK, cool. It's a relatively new term, but it's already something that is shifting a lot of the industry, because essentially, as you all know, it's using AI and natural language to generate and refine functional code. So instead of spending days and days designing and coding, you can simply describe your interaction, and you will see beautiful interfaces happening in front of your eyes, which is amazing because it means that anyone can illustrate their ideas within minutes without needing how to code, which sounds a little bit familiar, right? But how do we use it in the UX team? Because I'm from the UX team, vibe coding has been super great for us. It has made us very better designers, faster designers. We use it from everything from rapid testing to micro interactions, visual brainstormings. We use it to describe ideas, to define motion, to identify edge cases, you name it. But the biggest use case is prototyping. Because before vibe coding, in order for us to create a fully functional prototype, it will take days of a lot of effort from the design point of view, but also from engineering. But now we are able to create many prototypes much faster. We're able to fail faster, and we're able to go to the solution much quicker, which is great. This is an example of what speed looks like. These are a bunch of screens from my colleagues and from myself. Everything was vibe coded within hours, if not minutes. I think nothing here took more than 2 hours, which is crazy, because these are not just static mockups. These are real functional prototypes that we were able to take in front of engineers to brainstorm a solution, or even to take in front of users for user testing to really get to real feedback. So that's great. And prototyping is great for us. It's a huge win for design. But today, I want to talk about how vibe coding can help you be better automators. Because, yes, vibe coding is the missing piece of your end-to-end automation solution. What I mean by that is that you're already creating very powerful back-end solutions with Make. You are connecting systems, you are transferring data, you are triggering workflows, etc. But what about the front-end solution? What about that visual missing piece that you need for triggering your workflow, or even just to visualize data? With tools like V0, which you're going to learn in a second, you're able to create that visual part within minutes, and then connect that to your Make automations to have an end-to-end product experience, which means that everyone now is able to come from a business idea to a fully functional product in hours, which is incredible. And to show you how that connection works, I will welcome to the stage Farhan from Vercel, please.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jaden.
Thank you all for joining. My name is Farhan. I'm a solutions engineer at Vercel. And yeah, I'm here today to talk about V0 and Make. Now, just a quick show of hands. Who's heard of Vercel before? OK, a few people. Who's heard of V0? OK, roughly the same amount. All right, so a bit of backstory before we go into what V0 is. For the past probably 10 years now, Vercel has been building web infrastructure. So this is infrastructure that powers sites from Bose to Stripe to Axel Arigato, all the way to the Washington Post. Our roots are deeply embedded within the web world. So we have Next.js as part of our open source project listing, Svelte, Nux Labs, ShadCN, Turbo Repo, all the way now to the AI SDK, which is a an SDK that we built for you to go ahead and build whatever AI applications you want, and also allow you to sort of switch between different models, whether it's a Claude model all the way to an OpenAI model, or some sort of obscure one built by some random startup somewhere. So that's essentially Vercel, and with that sort of expertise that we've gained from that, is we went ahead and built the infrastructure for the front-end cloud. Now, when you build a website, so you build it, you've either hired someone to build it or you've built it yourself. The next question is, like, how do I get this into the hands of people all over the world? And that's where it starts to feel like you need a sort of PhD in terms of how do I configure AWS, how do I configure GCP. But what we did at Vercel is we essentially put that all behind a button. So you click one button, and your website is now available all across the globe. So someone in, say, Mongolia can have the same sort of experience and performance as someone over in New York or Sao Paulo or London. With that, so that's our managed infrastructure side. Then there's the developer experience, and that is just to make the experience behind deploying web applications really easy, really friendly, and in a way that doesn't, again, make you feel like you need a PhD. Now, the natural next step, so I've mentioned infrastructure, I've mentioned our open source libraries, then the world of, actually before I go into that, so this is what developer experience looks like on Vercel. When you deploy a website, you get comments out of the box, so you can create different versions of your site, add comments within the application itself. You can then integrate that with Linear, you can integrate that with Jira, you can integrate that with Slack, so people within the team are aware of it. And again, it's out of the box, no configuration needed. You don't need to procure additional sort of software. It's out of the box. You can, in fact, use this on our hobby tier. And again, yeah, going back to our open source projects, there's Next.js, Turbo Repo, all the way to the AI SDK. That totals around 70 million weekly downloads. That's 70 million a week, and that's growing every day. So now it brings me to V0. Now, with all that expertise on the web, all that expertise on web frameworks, the rise of LLMs came about back in, 2022, when OpenAI released a GPT model. And we then thought the natural next step now is let's take everything that we've learned when it comes to the web and let's pour it into this tool which we've now called V0. And now this whole conversation is going to be about how you can use V0, you can use Make, and build your own personal software. So by the end of this talk, what I want you to go back with is essentially the idea, the world that we're entering is no longer procuring your own software, going to another sort of business and buying the software from them. Just build your own software now. Like, we're in the era of fast fashion, but for software. Before I jump into the examples that I've cooked, I'm going to go over to V0. This is what V0 looks like. You can head over to v0.app. You can do it on your phone. You can provide shareholder value right in your mobile, or you can do it via the website itself. We also have an app coming. There is a wait list currently, but probably in the next couple of weeks, we should see something. This is what V0 looks like. If you are curious and just want to have an idea of what sort of things that you can build, the templates page is an amazing place to start. This is where you can find landing pages that people have built. You can find AI applications people have built, all using natural language. You just use English or whatever language you tend to write in, and then plug that into V0, and it'll go ahead and build it. No coding needed, although you can access the code if you want. But again, you can pretty much cook without having to now to code. But yeah. So what we're going to do, I think, in the next 20-odd minutes is build 2 pieces of software. That's 2 pieces of software within 20 minutes. Now, I've recorded this. I've used a video to record this, but it's kind of like, trust me, bro, I've done this, and I kind of timed it, and it took me about 10 minutes apiece. In fact, I think one took me like 5 minutes. The first one that we're going to build is a questions app. Now, at the end of this, some of you may have questions. I would love, you can by all means like raise your hand when you have questions, but also feel free to put the questions into this application. You can scan this with this QR code. I hope to see mobiles coming out. Feel free to scan this and then add your questions in. The incentive here, and I work in go-to-market and sales, so the incentive here is we've got chocolates, so if you ask a question and I read the question out, we have a box of celebrations and you'll get a chocolate bar. Just don't take the Milky Way ones because that's my favorite. But all right, so building this application. So I went to V0 and I said, I want you to create a minimal questions form where it will ask for a person's name and the question that they want to ask. Now, V0 is going to use Next.js out of the box. Right now, it specializes in Next.js. You can ask for a different framework, but there's more work coming there. And it's gone ahead and made this. It's using Shadcyan as a design system. So again, accessibility is out of the box for when you want to deploy. Next, I went ahead and went into design mode. So I've created my own design system within V0, and I want to give it a bit of personality. So I've picked this one, which I've quite aptly named my design system. Just to give it a bit of character. But again, you can use V0 and create a design system, and then apply that design system to each of your builds. Now I'm going to head over to Make. Now I'm going to keep this simple. I'm going to create a custom webhook, which is going to be triggered when a question is asked. So I've got this feedback webhook. Within that, I'm also going to define what the name of the person that will be coming in through that request, as well as the question that they'll be asking. Click Save, and then the next part is adding in the Notion. So adding in the Notion integration. So I'm going to read these questions off of Notion. I've authenticated myself in. I'm going to use a specific dashboard which I've generated. I know these keys are meant to be private. Please just don't actually go ahead and use it. I should probably delete that table afterwards. But yes, so now the webhook Notion setup is done. So I've got this webhook. V0 is going to trigger it. And of course, I'm just going to name the workflow. So now that that's set up, I'm going to go ahead and click Save, and then head back over to V0. I'm going to give it the webhook itself. So I'm going to say, with the inputs that you've got within this form, so the name, the question, I want you to fire this off to this webhook endpoint. And then from there, just let people know that, hey, yeah, you filled in the question. So nothing too sort of advanced in terms of what I'm asking it to do. But now, when I head over to the application, I'm going to go ahead, enter my name. I'm going to add my name, and then just ask it a question. What is the meaning of life? And now in Notion, I see it. So this is how we're going to interact by the end of the session with questions. It's an app fully built with V0. But then you're probably also wondering, like, how did I get this live? Like, right now, this application lives within V0. What I can do is click this button here, which is Publish to Production. Again, one button, and it's deployed onto the web. Like, it's live. Like, anyone can use it. When you went onto it on your phone, you probably experienced fast load times. If you didn't, please don't let me know, because then that'll just completely ruin the presentation. Actually, let me know. I can always give that as feedback. But this is live. Someone in New York, someone here, someone anywhere around the world can access it and now start adding in their questions. So again, the first piece of software we're down to. This probably took me about 5 minutes to make. But you're looking at me and thinking like, okay, this is cool. This is like, pretty much a standard web application where I give you some input and then it saves to a database. Fortunately, I've also come up with a wacky idea, which is something that's always been on my to-do list, which is V0, but for newsletters. Like, what if I could build an AI tool where I go to it and say, I want you to create a newsletter for me, send it out every, say, Monday, and I want it around a specific theme. It could be about the latest movie that's come out. It could be about, I don't know, the latest models, the AI models that have come out, or whatever you want. So that's what we're going to build. So the first thing I'm going to do is head over to Make. I'm going to set up the first integration, which again will be a webhook. This is a custom webhook, which again, and you might be wondering as well, like, what's the security here when it comes to setting up this webhook? I can, of course, create a key and have it so that it's specified. For the sake of this demo, though, I'm just going to keep it sort of bare bones and just add in like a request that pretty much anyone could make a request to. I'm going to give it the email address that I want this newsletter to email. So I sign into this application. It will use the email that I've signed in with and just keep sending me newsletters. So that way I can also send this to my friends. I can say, hey, to whoever, I can say, if you want to build your own newsletter, like, just use this application. Like, this is software that I've built. You don't need to go ahead and buy this anywhere or think about building it yourself. Now, that information is going to go to Perplexity. Perplexity is going to do the research. That research is then going to be fed over to ChatGPT, where I've given it a pretty lazy prompt. Please don't judge me on my prompt skills. They're terrible. Here, based on this information, I want you to write a clean newsletter and keep in the URLs as sources. It's pretty much how I write my emails now anyway. Like, I just kind of go to ChatGPT. I'm like, just clean this up. Actually, that's really bad. Don't tell my manager that. Anyway, then after that, I'm just going to add in like the router and just add a webhook response. This is something that if I wanted to test the response back in the V0 app, I can do that. But I'm also going to add in resend. Now, emails is probably one of the hardest things to do. I'm going to go ahead and just give a shout out to Resend anyway, because they've just made it very easy for us to pretty much handle that. So I've set up my own Resend account. I've configured everything, the domains. And also, Make has an integration. Actually, when I was building this out, I was like crossing my fingers and saying, I hope Make has a Resend integration, because otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to build. And they did. So I plugged in Resend, and that's the workflow. This is the back end for the app. It's basically 5 things. It's a webhook, it's Perplexity, it's ChatGPT, and it's some webhook response, and then there's Resend. And we've got the backbone for this application. Now, heading back to V0, I'm going to go ahead and say, build a Next.js app, and I want you to use Supabase. Now, we have strong ties to a lot of companies, such as Supabase. It's a company that allows you to provision databases like on the fly, again, without having to think about the daunting task of logging into AWS or GCP. And then also set up the middleware around it, because I want people to authenticate themselves in. I want this to actually be a piece of software that people anywhere, my friends, family, whoever, can go ahead and use this. If I want to monetize it, I can integrate Stripe if I wanted to. But V0 is going to do that. It's going to use the Vercel marketplace and set up a Postgres database. It's going to connect that up to V0, and so right off that, like we've got a database set up, we've got an application being built, like 2 things already done just through 1 prompt. So it's got the Supabase integration, and now it's going to start cooking up the application. It's going to create the authentication pages, and authentication, again, a very challenging thing to do. You want security out of the box when you do vibe code. So because it's using Next.js, we pour our expertise from the Next.js team into V0, so it knows all the best practices when it comes to getting set up. It's also written SQL. Now, I hate writing SQL. I think that's just like why am I doing this when I look at my screen? And so again, V0 has done that for me. It's written this SQL code, and I've kind of just said, you know what, just apply that SQL code. Let's just YOLO this and see where this goes. I've added in my email, I've added in my password, and now I'm signed up. Like, this is an app now within 3 prompts. I've got a database, I've got a full stack application, I've got authentication, and now I'm going to publish it to the web. So, like, again, like just within about probably 10 minutes, I've done all of that, which would probably take at least someone like me. I'm a pretty basic engineer when it comes to it. Would have probably taken like a week to go ahead and do this. I've done this in like 5-10 minutes. Already set up. I've got authentication. I've got an application, and it's being deployed now to the web. So the application is pretty much deployed. Now we've got to start adding a bit more meat to this. Like, I want to start adding in the newsletter stuff. I want to start adding in the ability for someone to prompt their newsletter. Now, this is just me logging into the site to show you that I am up and running. All right, so actually going back to this, like if I were to look at this on Vercel, like this is what it looks like. I can see that if I wanted to add in a domain, I want to add in my custom one, which is rhythmic.dev. That is my URL for this website. I think you can access it. I didn't check it before in the last day, but if you go to rhythmic.dev now, you should see this website. You should be able to also sign in. You should be able to also create your own newsletters. Please don't spam it. Like, this is just going to burn my OpenAI and Perplexity tokens. But it's live. Like, this is an AI tool that's been built. Now, the next part is I want it to set up the database table so that for each user, every time a user enters their newsletter idea, it will save it into that Postgres database that Supabase has set up for me. So when I submit it, it will be so that every user that created a sort of prompt will be able to see the prompts that they created. Pretty sort of like, it's just kind of still getting warmed up to building this AI tool out. But again, it's doing it. It's building the interface for it. It's also written the SQL code for it. if we actually look at the SQL code and then apply and approve it. Again, I didn't read it. I was just like, you know what, I trust you. Go ahead and do that. I don't know if that's best practice, but like, anyway, we're here. It works. Like, I don't know. And now this is actually what it looks like on Supabase. Like, this is the connection between the newsletter ideas table to the actual user that signed in. So I have the user ID, the description, created that, updated that, and it's tied to the user ID. And now some of you may be thinking, I know there's probably a few people that have never done work with a database. My advice is this, is that you can also ask V0, like, how would I tackle this problem? There's a lot of times where I ask V0 to basically reverse engineer an entire application. It tells me via prompts how to go about it. So if this is something that you want to build, if you want to go ahead and build using databases, just ask V0 to consult you. Like, it's not just there to build, it's there to consult too. Now, heading back, what do I write here? I basically ask it, create the form where a user can describe their newsletter. With that, basically add in a large text box where they can define how they want to look, and then also add in the submit button that comes with it. And then if there's any errors, just show a success or error message is also very good for debugging, just to make sure that everything's working. So again, V0 is going at it. It's going to write in that code. It's going to use Next.js. It's going to use all the best practices. It's going to use ShadCN without me having to think about any of that stuff. I'm just going to test to see if this works, and I'll tell you if you're wrong or right. This, by the way, is completely live, like not live, but in its raw form. Like, I recorded all of this. Of course, yes, it's a bit sped up, but there were no errors pretty much along the way. This is now the interface. Now, the interface can be improved. I know Hedi's probably looking at it and thinking, like, yeah, this is a horrible interface. Like, I'm not a designer. I'm kind of just letting V0 do it for me. But, like, there we go. We have this newsletter description that's there. It's a bit too much text. But now I'm going to go ahead and say, also build a section that shows me all the newsletter ideas that I've had. So for every one that I submit, just show them in a list. And this is only relevant to me. I am the authenticated user at this point, so I'll only show mine. Once I've also submitted as well, just add in a friendly message to ensure that this is working correctly. So again, it's getting back to that. You've seen this before. I don't want to keep boring you with this whole churning code, etc. But looking at the app now, we have this in place. Now, finally, I just needed to save the newsletter descriptions to the database. So every time someone enters now, it will be sent off to the database. But again, I'm just going to quickly skip over this part. Again, I'm looking at a few faces. I'm thinking, I'm being a bit repetitive here. All right. So the next part is the automated system part. Like, how do I connect this up to make.com? Now, it's going to be the same process that we saw earlier with the Notion one, where I'm just going to give it the webhook. I'm going to paste it in. And I'm also going to say to it, like, I need this running. I need a cron job, essentially, so that every Monday, I'm going to get a newsletter sent to me. It's going to hit this webhook, the make webhook that was given to me, and you will take in the following inputs. You're going to take in an email, so the email that the newsletter is going to be sent to. You're going to take the description, which is the description of the newsletter you want generated, and the system at this point will find the user's latest newsletter idea. Now, you can keep iterating on this. This is a piece of software that you can keep adding more and more to. Again, like I said, if you wanted to monetize it, like, by all means, use Stripe, use some payment service, and then integrate that within V0. There is a Stripe integration now with V0. I think that came out last week. But now it's connecting it up, and it's adding in the make integration. It's going to be the cron job, or the job that's going to run every Monday is going to say, look at the newsletters from this specific user, go to Perplexity, generate the newsletter, send it out so they get the recent updates on V0. And you can see down here, like just at the bottom near the newsletter ideas, the one that I added was create a newsletter that keeps me up to date with the latest AI trends coming out of the United Kingdom. And it's also added in another SQL file. I'm going to go ahead and, again, YOLO it and just commit that to my database. And see what comes out of it. And the cron job has also been set up. So looking at this code, like, this is what a cron job looks like. It's basically saying, like, every Monday at 9 a.m. send out this message. I need to give it a secret because you need these endpoints to be safe. Otherwise, anyone and everyone can basically spam it and just run up your usage. But now I've updated it, and I'm going to deploy it back onto the web. So this new version of the site is now live at rhythmic.dev or rhythm.dev. And that, again, will just take a couple of seconds to get everything set up. This also includes my integration with Supabase. That includes my integration with Make. It includes my cron job as well. So all of that is kind of being lumped together, and Vercel's just pushing it out to the real world. Now, coming back to the app, so now if I go to it, I can see that, OK, I've got this prompt in. I could add in another one if I wanted to. Create a newsletter that keeps me up to date with the latest AI developments happening in the United Kingdom. Now, what I'll do is so I can wait until Monday 9 a.m., but I think we've all got better things to do right now. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Vercel, and I'm just going to run the cron job and see what it looks like. I'm going to hit run, and now if I head over to Make, I can see this automation starting to play out. I see the webhook's been hit. After the webhook's been hit, it's going to send that information over to Perplexity. Perplexity is going to do all that research around finding the latest news around AI trends. It's going to send it over to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just going to write it in a way that's friendly to read in an email. And I'm using ChatGPT 5 model here, so hence why it's taking a bit longer. Once ChatGPT has done that, of course, it's going to send it over to the router. The router is it's going to log the response in the webhook, and then it's going to send out the email. And this is where it gets really interesting. Like, how does that look like? And is this a working piece of software? Spoiler is that yes, it is. So once I don't know why this is taking so long. Is this video frozen? No, we're good. We're good. ChatGPT is just taking too long. I don't know why I picked the GPT-5 model. Anyway, so whilst it's doing that, it's going to send it over to my email. And if I go to my email, this is actually what it looks like. This is an actual newsletter now that's been generated. I've actually built it from the ground up. I've said, this is what I want the newsletter to look like. Yes, you're probably looking at it and thinking, it looks hideous. There's no way I'm reading that. But you can improve on it. You can ask V0 to get it to write it in a better way. You can ask Make to sort of format it in a way that's a lot user-friendly to read. But I've also got the sources here. It's showing me information from Google, Microsoft, all the way to, I don't know, AI breakfast. But now there we have it. We have two pieces of software. One, actually, an AI tool that I've built using an AI tool to create generative newsletters. I'm a sucker for newsletters, hence why I did it that way. But one thing I also want to say is, when I was tasked with this sort of mission to build this or to get ready for this presentation, I was I was spoiled for choice. I was like, what do I build here? There's so much to choose from. Looking at Make's automations, and also having spoken to Hedy and Iman, it just felt like a very hard task to do because there was just so much there. So I landed on the generative newsletter, and there we go. That's the end of my talk. 2 pieces of software within 20 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you take this away and think, you know what, I'm going to build my own piece of software now instead of having to buy it or spend money for someone to build it. And thank you very much for your time. We're now going to head over to questions. I hope people have submitted some through. Okay, let's see. It's going to be so awkward if no questions are... there we go. All right. All right. So we've got a question from Tim. Where is Tim? There we go. Is it possible to get a chocolate over? Thank you. How do you reduce... either that or I was going to chuck it. So it would have hit someone in front of you. How do you reduce hallucination when creating apps? So a large part of this is... hallucinations on V0 have reduced quite substantially since coming out. When V0 was first launched, every app was pretty much hallucinating. That's become a problem. That problem has reduced over time. A big part of that is we do train on how people are prompting, and from there we do change it. However, if you are on enterprise, that's something that you can opt out, and there is another package on the way where you'll be able to opt out from that. Another one is. A large part of it is because we're training with Next.js, or we're using Next.js behind the scenes, we can kind of shortcut the learning curve for V0 to build the right app using Next.js. But yeah, so it's improving over time. Context window is also increasing, so that too is also going to reduce hallucinations. Another question came in. What's the pricing model for V0? So if you go to v0.app, or if you go to the pricing page on there, we have hobby tier, which is free. That, I think, gives you I can't remember how many prompts you get with that now. Then there's Pro, and we have a business plan. Pro's at $20 a month, but then you're also, like, if you go over the amount that's allotted to you, you can run into token overages, but that, too, the price is going down substantially. Then there's a business plan, which will be coming out at $200 a month, and we, of course, have the enterprise plan. If you are interested in the enterprise plan, feel free to let me know. Okay, what's the weirdest actually, wait, sorry, that was by Jan. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the next one is, what's the weirdest automation idea that has been created with V0 and you've actually deployed? That's by Max Cord, over there. There we go. So the weirdest one, I think, like, so, for me personally, I haven't done one I think that could be sort of set as weird, but one that we've currently got or currently building is, so again, we work in go-to-market, and for Vercel, we kind of look and wait to see what e-commerce applications go down during Black Friday. So we built like an automation that will constantly scan like a number of like e-commerce sites, and then will let us know if it goes down on Black Friday. Hopefully that application doesn't go down on Black Friday, because that would also be really funny. But yeah, that's probably the weirdest one, because yeah, it feels kind of slimy, like building it like that. Like let's target the e-commerce sites that go down. But hey, like that's business. Okay, so next question is, will this make SaaS providers obsolete? By Petros. There we go. So that's a really interesting question. I think we're kind of the mind that it kind of will over time, over like a very long amount of time. Like, so we have something that we're doing at Vercel right now is GTM engineering. GTM is a team that we've set up where we've brought together a bunch of engineers, and we're basically building the software that we're paying like 10, 20 grand for like a year. So we're using V0 to build that out. We're also using Claude Code, a lot of different tools. But I think for a large enterprise organization where you have that kind of the resources to build something like that out, I think there probably will be a decline of it. But then I think there will also be an increase of, I think, expertise that comes from other companies and them just pretty much monetizing it within LLM. So it's kind of give it if that answers the question. But I think, probably, I think for some, we'll see a decrease. Sorry, did you get your chocolate? Okay, perfect. Okay. Then we have another question, which is, can I generate PHP or Laravel web apps? Short answer is no. Unfortunately, you can't. That was asked by... Yes, that was also asked by you. He wants a second chocolate. I'm going to check the names first before I read the questions. No, go ahead. So, yeah, no, you can't. Right now, I don't think that's something even on the horizon yet. Our sort of foundation's been like running off of JavaScript frameworks. That's proven to be a success with React.js, now Next.js. But who knows? Maybe in a few years' time, we probably will look towards that. We are building now Vercel for backends specifically, so Go runtimes now on there. Python runtimes supported on Vercel. As for PHP, that's to be confirmed at a later point. Next question by Marie. Alex. How do you see vibe coding evolve in the next 2 to 3 years? I think it's going to... I think, first of all, like, we're going to get a lot better at vibe coding. I think a lot of us... I'm speaking for myself, like, for example, prompting, sometimes I'm just really lazy with it, and sometimes I probably could have shortcut like the prompting instead of spending like 100 messages, probably done it in 10. One way I like to learn is reverse engineer it. So once I've got a product, I just say, like, just do this in 5 prompts, and how would I go about it? I think a large part of it is also the expertise that you put behind the vibe coding tool. So again, with V0, it's like the expertise, the things that we're good at, and we just give it to V0, and we train V0 on it. So again, if you're building with Next.js with that in mind, then you go to V0. I know there are other tools out there that do very similar things, Lovable, Bolt, which are all very good in their own right. But for things like where you want a specific form of technology, I think that's where you'll see more of those vibe coding tools that are probably specific to those areas. But yeah, again, it kind of goes with one of the answers I gave earlier, which is a lot of companies I think will be monetizing, or not even monetizing, but like tokenizing their knowledge and then putting that into an LLM, and then from there building out sort of vibe coding tools. Yeah. Okay. So next question by Keenan Theron. That's you. Okay. That's a big question. All right. I've tried Lovable, Bolt.new, Replit, and looked at Vercel. These are great for small, simple apps or prototypes. But one thing that's missing from each of these is how can a team of developers work together on the same app? Ideally, each developer would be able to work on their own GitHub branch and have their own chat window and be able to manage pre-production staging and production environments. What is Vercel doing to empower dev teams to build and manage enterprise-grade production apps? So one thing I didn't highlight in this demo is that there is a GitHub integration. So when you build something, you can click the GitHub icon, and that will send it over to whatever GitHub account you have. From there, you can also switch between branches. And that also means that when you pull that locally and you make commits, you'll also see that reflect in V0. So that's one way we are seeing dev teams work with it. Another one is like within the Teams, actually one of the packages that we have is the Teams app, is the Teams package. With the Teams package, so you and say like 5 other developers, you subscribe to it, and then within that you can share your conversations. You can also, we call it duplicating. It used to be called fork, but the more times you say, I want to fork the chat, it just sounds really wrong. So I think now we're calling it duplicate. You can now duplicate the chat, and so let's say you've worked on something, and you send it, I don't know, to me, and you're like, hey, I built this thing, what's your thoughts on it? And I'm like, this is cool, I can continue to prompt away on the chat that you gave me, or I can duplicate it, and then basically take a snapshot of where you left off, and then add in my own sort of features around it. So that's another way that we're seeing people collaborate. But this extends beyond engineers now. So it's like the engineer can use it, and I think for engineers, they tend to use it in a way of consulting with V0. So next week, Next.js 16 comes out. Claude Code, Lovable, all these other tools, it'll take a while for them to train on it because they rely heavily on open source information. For us, because we have the Next.js team, we will train it overnight or become a Next.js 16 expert. And then if you are working with Next.js and you want to know the latest API that's come out, you can just ask V0 and collaborate on it with that. Sometimes we even use it for migrations. So if we're dealing with a migration, say, from a customer or client, we will use V0 to map out the migration and then send it to them, and they will then add in their thoughts. And then over time, you have this like huge migration plan that you can work with, pass it over to the engineers, and the engineers can start using that to migrate an app over. Did you get your chocolate? Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Next question is, can I maintain an existing website not made with V0 in V0? So right now you can't, and that question was asked by Niraj. There we go. So right now you can't, but that's on the way. It's pretty much like priority 0 for us right now. A large part of that is the technical challenge that we currently are facing, which is we have to relook at the way where, as you saw, that in-browser sort of experience that you get. But that's on the way, and it should be coming out probably in a couple of weeks to a couple of months. But again, it's, things get pushed back or things can't move forward. I guess one last question. Why should I use V0 over Bolt or Lovable? Because I said so. That was asked by Sven over there. No, so it goes back to the point, which is, again, it depends what you're looking for when it comes to expertise. V0 again is like if you need that, if you're using those specific open source frameworks that's kind of under the Vercel umbrella, then V0 is the go-to. Lovable is there. Bolt is fantastic. Although I haven't heard so much from Bolt over the past few months, but Lovable, for example, is an amazing tool. The same goes with Replit as well. But if you need that sort of granular expertise, V0 is a good one to help to support you there. We also have a larger team than, say, compared to Lovable, so we have a lot more sort of training information that we have internally that we give to V0. And with that as well, like we have a lot more coming in the next couple of months that I think will really show a difference between where we stand against Lovable. But yeah, thanks for that question. Did you get your chocolate? Okay, brilliant. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I want to thank everyone for taking the time out, also for the questions. If you have more questions, feel free. I'm hanging about all evening. Yeah, so feel free to ask away. But thank you very much.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Farhan. It was really great. For me, it was great to see when you mentioned that it's 2 software applications in less than 20 minutes. That's amazing. And I was expecting you to stay here with me.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, but really, thank you. And before you guys all go, we just wanted to leave you with like 3 key takeaways, basically from Farhan's presentation. The first one, which he mentioned frequently, was the era of personal software is here. You build what you need without the need to buy what you need. So basically, you no longer need to go and buy software, but you can create it yourself. Second one, the programming language of the future is the written word. Your ability to describe prompts and describe problems is basically your biggest skill, so that's going to be huge from now on. And the last one, which I really like, is you can just build things, because now when the technical barrier is over, you can just go and be creative and like create great software. So I don't know if you want to add anything else to this.
Yeah, like I think, again, thank you, massive. I appreciate it very much for like the support from the Make team. But yeah, feel free to start using it. If you want my email, feel free to ask me. Like I'll be around as well. And if you want to try out V0. But yeah, thank you all very much for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and see you at the party later.